Hello everyone. This is going to be a quick video regarding the performance of Nioh 3. I got a review key a couple days ago. I've already cleared the game, but due to embargo, I cannot really talk about reviews or endgame or anything like that. That's going to take a few more days, so I figured I'd give my experience with the PC ports. Granted that that's not going to step on any Legos regarding spoilers and stuff like that. Overall, the performance was pretty good. However, I did resort to using lossless scaling instead of going for 120 FPS. As you can see here, there's actually a good wealth of options here. I think one of the best things you can do is, where is it? You can actually uncap the frame rate on the cutscenes. This is one of the biggest complaints that people have about PC ports these days. It might not really affect gameplay, but it does bother people. You know, you're playing at 120 FPS and then the cutscene goes down to a cinematic 30. So that's actually pretty nice. There are a lot of other options as well. I haven't really tested which ones of these impact performance. I'm sure somebody with more time will be able to do that. But the issue I had with this was playing at 120 FPS was both very demanding and unstable. It was pretty much maxing my graphics card. So I went ahead and went for 60 FPS and then just used lossless scaling because I've had some issues with, you know, if my graphics card is being maxed out when I record or stream, it starts to lag a bit. So I figured for the overall video quality, I would just decide to do this. There is FPS, I guess this is like DSR. I'm not really sure what this means. I don't know if this is dynamic resolution scaling or what, but I went ahead and turned this off. So this is what the game looks like at 60. You can see here on my computer, it's actually loading pretty decently. It's not under too much of a heavy load. I didn't really mess with the graphics that much. I kind of just left it as it is. I'm not really sure if there is a particular setting, like most Koei Tecmo developed and published games, where there's like one setting. Usually it's like, you know, fog or particles or something like that, that usually like tanks the performance and is more demanding on your computer. I wasn't able to find anything like that, but just on the default settings, it's been pretty solid, and with using lossless scaling, I found it to be the better option. Now, I do have an endgame New Game Plus character, so let me go ahead and find somebody to liberate here. Liberate from standing around. Yeah, this is kind of a endgame character going back to level 1 meme. Level 1 zone meme. Overall, I think the graphics are actually quite good. There are some parts where it does look a lot worse, mostly just because this game is kind of it's a hodgepodge of a lot of recycled assets, including like enemies and bosses and stuff. That much was already apparent from the demo. Kind of like Night Rain. If you played Elden Ring, Night Rain, or you've seen people play that game, it's kind of similar where they reuse a lot of stuff. But there are a lot of new assets. I think the game actually looks pretty decent. It looks about as good as it needs to. This is Team Ninja games are never really about graphics and story, if you ask me. Anyway, let's go ahead and put it on 120 so you guys can see the difference. Personally, for me, it was maxing out my card and turning my computer into jet engine mode, so I couldn't really tell if there was a difference or not, but it just felt too demanding for me, so I just went ahead and put it on 60 and used lossless scaling. However, for the purpose of the video, we'll ramp it up here. So this looks a lot better on my end. However, I'm not really able to get a stable 120 FPS most of the time. Also, there are a lot of really big fluctuations with the GPU usage, which I think is partially what the problem is. So when you get to certain environments that I can't really talk about due to the embargo, you will definitely not get a locked 120, so it's up to you. I'm quite sensitive to frame rate changes and fluctuations and stuff like that, and for me, having the graphics card maxed out is kind of not great because I do need a little bit of headroom to record and stream and stuff. So I went ahead and locked it at 60, but as you can see in the upper left hand corner, it does maintain it pretty well. I am on a 4070 Ti Super and an i9-12900k. The game is also installed on a modern NVMe, like one of the latest ones that you can get. So my computer's pretty decent. It definitely could be better. I am a bit disappointed. The game doesn't really look much better than Nioh 2, but it is like exponentially more demanding. I think part of the reason is because it's actually loading a lot of what you can't see so that you can fast travel. This game is kind of a little bit like Dynasty Warriors 9 in that like fast travel points are pretty frequent. So what that means is it's probably loading a lot more than what you can see, whereas in Nioh 1 and 2, it's pretty much only loading what's visible because they can directly control how quickly you can run. You can actually run pretty quick in this game, so I assume that because it's loading way more assets than what is normally visible, that's why the GPU and CPU usage and the performance is not what it should be. I was told during the partial embargo that I guess there's some problems that they're supposed to fix, and I don't know if they've fixed them yet. I was not given any patch notes, so the experience with both the demo that's coming out in a few hours and with release might be different, but I figured I'd go ahead and do this now. Anyway, that's basically it. The game is more than playable. If you're expecting a rock solid 120 FPS, you might have to nerf the settings a bit, and I haven't really messed with that much. Mostly because if you look here, it's nice that you don't have to go to the menu to change these, but I think it should definitely tell you how much these impact performance. That's actually one of the things that I really like about PC ports when they tell you like, hey, this does this certain thing, and it greatly impacts performance. I definitely will send them that feedback so that maybe we can get it in the game because it's kind of stupid to just not really tell you how much this affects things, so you have to fight with it and stuff like that. But otherwise, the port is pretty solid. I had pretty much no issues just using 60 and lossless scaling. I know frame generation is a touchy subject, but personally for me, I didn't really notice any input lag. I played through the whole game like that outside of the first tutorial zone here, which is what's going to be in the demo. And I didn't really have any issues with timing or anything like that. Lossless scaling is pretty good in 3.0 for what it's worth. It's more than capable of playing games like this. Despite what people say, the input lag is not that bad, provided you're not trying to do like, 4 times frame generation. But like for times 2, I didn't really have any issues at all. It was a lot easier on my computer personally. So take that as you will. I'll definitely mess around with these settings a bit more and see if there's one that like greatly impacts GPU usage. But for now, everything was pretty much fine on standard. Thanks for watching.